What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Have you guys heard about this story between James Pearce Jr., who is a rookie for the Atlanta Falcons, and what he did to WNBA rookie Rickea Jackson? Baby, if you haven't heard about it, let's go ahead and get into it because this is a mess. So it says Atlanta Falcons first round pick James Pearce Jr., who's 22 years old, faces 5 felony charges, including aggravated battery and stalking, after police says that he pursued WNBA rookie Rickea Jackson in his Lamborghini during a domestic dispute in Doral, Florida on Saturday night. Officers chased him after he crashed, and he drove into one officer's knee before his arrest. The judge set his bond Sunday at $20,500 and ordered him to stay 500 feet away from Jackson, who was unharmed. Okay, good. I'm glad that she was unharmed. Pearce posted bond and was released, with his attorney saying that he maintains his innocence. The Falcons are gathering information as his NFL future remains uncertain. Let me just go ahead and say that future with the NFL is probably a wrap, because if he drove his car intentionally into a cop's knee, you know how people feel about cops in this country. It's ridiculous. And the fact that, he's 22 years old makes me really sad because his life is probably, I'm not going to say his life is over, but he's so young. And to be facing 5 felonious charges, he's probably going to spend some time behind bars. WNBA star Rickea Jackson told police that she broke up with Pearce, ending their 3-year relationship. Rickea blocked James's number so that he couldn't reach her, so instead he used another phone to text her. This Friday, she texted him to leave her alone and that she wanted nothing to do with him. Saturday morning, while driving, she noticed that he was following her in his Lamborghini. He allegedly got out of the car and tried to open her door. Rickea accelerated away from him and drove toward the police department. He got into his car, followed her, and then tried to rear end her car near the police station. When she tried to back out, he collided head on with her car, and the police arrived and ordered Pearce to get to the ground with a pew pew drum. James got back in his car, he locked it, and started driving away, hitting a police officer in the knee. Pearce Jr. crashed at an intersection, attempted to run away, and then resisted arrest from many officers. Unfortunately, I do think that Pearce, allowed his emotions to cloud his judgment, and I feel like he threw his career away. And it makes me so sad because this could have been, like here's what I don't understand, right? You're 22 years old, you're a rookie, right, for the Atlanta Falcons. You can literally have almost any woman that you want. If you're a 22-year-old professional athlete driving a Lamborghini, what in the world are you stalking an ex-girlfriend for? Like, the fact that you guys were together for 3 years, okay, she has the right to say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. And judging by how, his actions, I honestly don't blame her. But I feel like any rational person would have been like, okay, that's fine. Focus on your career. But also, there's so many women in Atlanta, or if he didn't want to stay in Atlanta, right? He could go to anywhere. I just, I never understood that. Like, people get so hung up on this one person. So, what are the charges? Aggravated battery, stalking, and then assault on a police officer. Now that I feel like is going to be is really going to be the kicker. Like, that's really what he's going to, I feel like, pay the price for. And it's unfortunate, again, because that was just bad judgment. Like, he did not have to follow that girl to the police station. If she's driving to the police station, she's obviously fearful and she's trying to get away from you. I don't know what it is about. And the thing is, I was going to say like CTE, but he's 22 years old. He hasn't even been in the NFL that long. I was going to say, I don't know what it is with these professional athletes. I don't know if it's the money, the ego, the status, the what. But they hype a lot of these young boys up. And yes, Granted, they're talented, but it's like they get special treatment throughout their entire life, and they think that they're just like above the law until, unfortunately for many, it's too late. And then the law throws the book at them. And at 22 years old, your brain's not even fully formed yet. It's just like, oh my gosh, I did some foolish things when I was 22 years old. I remember it was my birthday. It was my 21st birthday. I'll never forget. I was in college. And me and my friends were, we were playing, blasting our music or whatever. It was in the middle of the night and we were at a red light. I jumped out the car and started twerking in the middle of the street at the red light, and a cop pulled up. And I didn't get in trouble. He just gave us a warning because I told him it was my 21st birthday and it was a college town. However, that was foolish. He could have taken my silly, behind the jail for blocking traffic or twerking in the middle of the street, whatever the case may be. But I would never chase. I don't know. And I get it, like power and control. And I've studied all those systems in my women's studies classes growing up or whatever. But man, for him to throw his entire life away off of a 3-year relationship, it's wild business to me, because now that you've hit a cop in their knee, they're not going to, I don't think they're going to let that young man go. I really do believe that he is going to serve time behind that one action. It says that he faces a minimum of 5 years in prison if he's convicted of just one of these charges. And then aggravated battery on a law enforcement in Florida. I forgot that they were in Florida. I was thinking Atlanta because he plays for the Falcons. Aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer in Florida is a first-degree felony and has a mandatory sentence. I knew that he was going to get in trouble for that. They don't care that, and unfortunately, this this patriarchal society that we live in, especially in the United States, right? They absolutely do not care about men harming women or children, right? We've seen it too many times before. But if you hurt a cop, they're going to come after you. And the fact that he's young and that he is a professional athlete, they are going to try to drain as much free labor from this young man as they possibly can. And I hate to put it that way, but the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery. It just reimagined it into mass incarceration. And unfortunately, we have an administration, and Florida has a governor, Ron DeSantis, that's going to probably make sure that he has plenty of years behind bars. And it's just like one, thoughtless decision, one horrible, choice makers, because he was actually trying to flee the police station when he hit this cop unintentionally in the knee, but they don't care. They absolutely do not care. Someone described the NFL as a polished plantation, with white owners and black labor. And I mean, you could argue that the players are getting paid millions of dollars. The owners are getting paid billions with a B, and they're in the skybox completely protected. A lot of the black players have a lot more unprotected positions on the field, right? With, being a running back or a lineman or whatever. And typically the quarterbacks are white. There's only been 4 black quarterbacks who have taken us to the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts being the latest. But yeah, it's just, or maybe it was this one with the Seahawks. I don't know. Y'all can let me know in the comments. But the point is that this man has really thrown his life away in his, well, like I said, I don't want to say he threw his life away, but he threw his career away. One, the NFL, just look at what they did. They blackballed Colin Kaepernick for just taking a knee. Like, he was just silent. They're still protesting in Minnesota right now over the unalivings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And rest in peace, Keith Porter. But the fact that, the policing system in this country is a direct, it's derivative of the slave patrols. And now we have ICE, right, terrorizing not only illegal, immigrants, but U.S. citizens alike. It's horrible. This is the absolute wrong time to commit any type of crime in this country. There's never a good time, but now there is, these people are to the point where this administration enjoys the cruelty. They enjoy the spectacle. They enjoy the perp walk. They enjoy the cruelty, and they enjoy, you know, um, a lot of times using young Black men for labor, for entertainment, for their own, purposes and services. And it's heartbreaking because at 22 years old, you are just now, you're only a few years fresh out of high school. You're just now starting to live your life, and you're just now starting to get into identity formation and really trying to find out who you are. And again, him being a rookie on the Atlanta Falcons, it's like he's just beginning his career. I'm like, I don't understand it. I really don't. The fact that he was chasing, Rickea Jackson, and I hope that they said that she's unarmed, but I hope, psychologically and emotionally she's okay. But it's like, why are you trying to, stalk this young lady and chase her down when she's trying to get away from you? And to chase somebody to the police station, and I get that he's 22, but like, don't be that foolish. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take your crimes and your foolishness to the police station. Like, anybody, any rational sense would have been like, okay, remember we were playing hide and seek when we were younger, or a game, there was always like a base, like a safe. The police station is the one place that you should just kind of, he should have kept driving and left her alone. And he would still have his Lamborghini. He would still have his career. He would still have his freedom. Okay. He would still have his life. He could easily just smooth move on to somebody else. Like, anybody with any, sense of dignity or self-respect. Like, if somebody doesn't want you, okay, you chalk it up to an L and you keep moving forward. Like, that's life. There's so many fish out in the sea. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and there's 300 and around 30 million here in the US. Take your pick. You're 22 and a professional athlete. I'm like, do you know how many women would have just flocked to him? Like, sir. And now look, they're talking about mandatory minimums. You done hit an officer in a Florida, of all places. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, here's an update. It says Falcons James Pearce Jr. was released on bond in the Miami-Dade County. He's facing 5 felony charges. He made an appearance in court from his jail cell. The judge issued a bond of $20,000 and ordered him to stay away from Rickea Jackson. Absolutely. And I hope that she's okay. And I hope that he absolutely stays away from her and, never has the opportunity to hurt anyone else ever again. I hope that, during this time, because it is going to be a mandatory minimum, that we won't find out until sentencing, but that he is able to, learn from this. It says he chased her down and wrecked into her. So he intentionally drove into her before driving into the police with his Lamborghini, and it said it took 7 cops to get him down on the ground. Oh my goodness gracious. These young men, I tell you what, I feel like there should be some type of, training. And I'm not talking about physical training, but like financial literacy, but also like relationship training. Because they hand these young men, you know, these big multi-million-dollar checks. He went out and bought a Lamborghini, which in my opinion is not smart. But then he's chasing down his ex-girlfriend who wants to be free of him after 3 years. And it's just like now, he has this team of lawyers who are going to suck him dry from the money that he does have. He's going to have to serve time in prison, and then he's going to be a convicted felon when he gets out with no NFL career, by the way. Because again, they're not going to rehire him in the NFL after he intentionally drove into a cop's knee. They practically worship cops here in the U.S. Like again, like I said, look at Colin Kaepernick. All he did was take a silent knee, and they completely blackballed him. I mean, he didn't say one word against police brutality, and they completely ruined his career over just taking a knee on the field. Like, no, these people do not play about cops here in the U.S. Some cities will give over half of their whole entire city budget to police officers. It's ridiculous. But yeah, this was a hard lesson for James Pearce to learn. And again, I hope that Rickea Jackson is okay and that, she continues to be successful in her WNBA career. But I'll keep you guys updated, let you know when sentencing is and, how long he's going to have. But he's going to do some hard time in Florida. I could almost guarantee it. It's sad too because he has such a bright future ahead of him. I sound like I'm such an old lady. Like that baby had such a bright future, but he did. Like, that's what's frustrating. You know what I mean? Like I said, again, I remember when I was 22, 21, 22, twerking in the middle of the street, and we had just left the club too, which was foolish. But it's like you're so impulsive and you're so foolish when you're in your 20s. Like, that prefrontal cortex has not fully developed. Your brain hasn't even fully developed yet. And now he has to spend those years while his brain is fully developing in some prison cell rotting away. And that's his prime. It always hurt my heart when like during COVID, and my little sister, she was in her 20s, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, people like in my 20s and like COVID, I'm like stuck in the house and blah, blah, blah. Sad, man. It's sad. I hope he finds a good mentor. He has somebody in his corner that can give him some sound advice, because this whole situation really could have been prevented if he would have had somebody in his ear or had a strong, father figure or mentor, somebody who would let him know, listen, just because somebody, doesn't want to be with you doesn't mean that's the end of the world. You don't stalk them, you don't chase them, you don't ruin your whole career over it. Although I know he probably could not, nobody could have foreseen what was going to happen. But if he would have left her alone, then you know what I mean? Like none of this would have occurred. People need to just continue to move forward with life. Life is about mountains and valleys. You ebb and flow. And you're 22. You know what I mean? Like you're in the NFL, an Atlanta Falcon rookie. Like you're already on the mountaintop. You know who the situation reminds me of? Kim and Croy. Croy was about, he's younger than Kim, and I know they're about the same age, Rickea and James Pearce, but with Kim and Croy, he lost his whole family. His whole family told Croy, listen, this woman has, all these kids. I think she only had the two girls at the time, and now they have like 6 because they have 4 together. But Kim was like, I don't know. I don't want to say she was like 10 years older than, I know she was older than him. And she had just, finished her stint with Big Papa, who was married to another woman named Kim, by the way. But, his family is like, listen, you're in the NFL, Croy, you're young, you're handsome, you can do so much better, right? Instead of getting this woman who's only interested in you for your money, you know what I mean? Like she's going to suck you dry. And his family warned him to the point where he cut off contact with his family. Fast forward to today, and they done called the cops to their house 11 times. Corey screaming in the dang on parking lot. They done got evicted. The house is foreclosed on. You know what I mean? And his family was absolutely right. his family was 100% right. That's exactly what Kim set out to do. Suck him dry, and suck him dry she did. Took that man's money, took his soul, okay, took his sanity. Like I said, he was out there screaming. He was like, what more does she want? She's sleeping with other men. She wants to be together. She doesn't want to be together. Oh my goodness. The kids are scared because they have 4 young kids together. And Kim done moved on to another billionaire who, by the way, his wife was not playing those games and sent her a subpoena because she didn't want Kim to suck her husband dry. But that's what Kim does, man. She's a man eater. Y'all remember that song? Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man eater. Listen, that's Kim. Now, all he had to do was, and I'm talking about James Pearce Jr. here, right, was learn from Croy and Kim. He could have had somebody, a mentor, a pastor, a coach, whoever, and just say, I'm having a hard time. I really want to be back with, Rickea Jackson. She doesn't want to be with me anymore. And they could have said, listen, son, look in the mirror. You're 22 years old. You're gorgeous. You're rich. You're a professional athlete. You're athletic. Why are you chasing after a woman who doesn't want you? There are plenty of women out there who would love to be with a 22-year-old Atlanta Falcons rookie. And by the way, take the Lamborghini back and, and buy something more sensible. But instead, he chasing after Rickea to the police station, by the way, which again was foolish. I feel like anybody with any kind of modicum of sense would have left it alone. But y'all remember that movie with Martin Lawrence and Lynn Whitfield? It's a thin line between love and hate, and I'm not making light of their situation, but I'm laughing at the scene where he was like, she broke me down to my brake pads in front of the police station. like if you committing crimes and you know what I mean, and you're having domestic disputes at the police station, that's another level. Lord, let that type of love never find me, because ain't no way somebody run to the police station and you still carrying on and being foolish at the police station. Yeah, no, you didn't value your freedom enough. I don't put anything past, anybody. The history, like I said, I know the history of policing in America very well. They inspired what was going on over in 1930. I know a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, ICE, the ICE police, the ICE officials, they're copying out of the 1930s handbook. No, they're going back to their original Jim Crow days. 1930s Germany and that mustache man, they were trying to emulate what was going on over here with Jim Crow. And even they said that the 1 drop rule was too much for them to implement over in Germany. Now that's what they said, right? And Germany owned what they did and paid reparations to the Jewish people over there and made the symbols and, what Elon Musk did with his hands and all those things illegal over there. You try that mess over there, you're going to be put in prison. They don't play those games. They learn from their history. We have not. That's the difference. But we're only 250 years old. America will turn 250, this July. And if you look throughout history, because y'all know I'm a history buff, that there's a lot of empires, tend to fall around the year 250 mark. I'm hoping that we don't, but I'm just saying. Anyway, my prayers are with Rickea Jackson. I hope, like I said, that she's okay, that she's doing well emotionally and psychologically. It's unfortunate that we have James Pearce Jr., who will spend the next, I'm sure, few years of his life, and it may be even more than a few, because it's 5 charges that he has, and they're all felonies. I don't know, but I do know he'll have a mandatory minimum. That's why I said at least a few years in prison, and this whole thing could have been avoided had he made better choices. So let this be a lesson to myself and everybody else. I no longer twerk in the street. I'm no longer in my 20s though, you know. And again, I'm grateful for that stupid warning. I never did it again after that, by the way. It was just my birthday and I was, you know, doing the most, but I got a warning and I heeded that warning. I never repeated that mistake. Hopefully he'll learn from his mistake, and once he gets out, he'll be older and wiser. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section about this situation with James Pearce Jr. and Rickea Jackson. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe. Hype it up for your girl if you can for the one time. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will talk with you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.